Post installation configuration setting, that means after installing Windows Server 2016, these are the post installation configurations. Like we have to configure the IP address for the system, we have to configure the proper name and IP address. We must configure static IP, and we have to configure a proper name. By default it will get the name, but that name is a random name, so we will configure the name so that we can remember the machine. After that we will configure the Active Directory. Now in Windows Server, we configure the Active Directory services, and after the Active Directory services we configured, we can join the server or we can join the client to this Active Directory domain. Now we have configured the Active Directory here. So this is our 2016 server. We have configured the server name with as a ser1. We can configure any. Then we have configured the IP addresses. This is static IP address. And then we configured the Active Directory here. We installed and configured the Active Directory services, and when we configure and install Active Directory services, so we actually create a domain. Now we can say that how to create a domain. So very easy, by installing Active Directory domain services, or we can say how we can convert the simple server into domain controller. Very simple again, by installing the Active Directory domain services. Because when we install the Active Directory domain services, what happens? A domain is created, and the server where we installing the services will become the domain controller. And after it will become the domain controller, now nothing will be local here. Everything will be domain. That means if you want to create a user accounts, then user accounts will also be created under the Active Directory services. We cannot create the local accounts here in this server, because now this server is a domain controller, and domain controller will always be the DNS server also. We can create the DNS server separately, but it is not recommended. It is recommended to have a DNS server with Active Directory domain controller, so that DNS server will get also the security of Active Directory. Now all the management tools we will get here under this tools section, and here you will see all these Active Directory related tools, Active Directory related consoles, where we have the Active Directory users and computers. Now here we will create all the users and computers. So when you open this console, management console, so here you can see this is the domain we have, and under the domain we have these built-in folders. Like this built-in folder contains the built-in groups that comes with the Active Directory and local, and then this folder contains all the client accounts. Client account, that means all the machines which becomes the client for this domain. So these accounts, account for those machines will be created under this folder. Then domain controllers container will contain all the domain controllers. We can have multiple domain controllers in a single domain. So when we have multiple domain controllers, so we can see those machines account here. Right now we can see our local machines account here. That means this machine account, that is itself a domain controller. Then here we will see the foreign security principles from the other domain. Here we will see the services account, and here we will see all the users and groups accounts. So if we want to create any user and group, so we can create here under this domain, and mostly under this user group and user folder container. Right now these are the default accounts here, and I have created one account here, which is this user1. Now this user1 is a normal account. Now normal account will never log in, or it will not allow to log in into the domain controller. Account we create under the domain controller, but this user account, these normal accounts are not permitted to log in to this domain controller. If we try to log in with this user account to this domain controller, it will say that the policy is not permitting it. It is not permitting the interactive login, because it is not permitted. So only the normal users can log into the domain controller, which is allowed to log in. That means if administrator allows someone to log into the domain controller, only then that user can log in. Otherwise that user cannot log into the domain controller machine. On domain controller, by default only administrator can log in. administrator, that means the administrator account, which is the domain administrator. So where these users will log in? So these users, these normal users will log into the client machine. Now client machine, that means that Windows 10 machine or Windows 8 machine, Windows 7, even Windows 7 also. The machines which make the member of this domain. So first we have to make those machines member of this domain. Then on those machines, those client machines, these users can log in. These accounts we don't have to create on client machine. So accounts will be created on domain controller, and these accounts, these user accounts can log into any client machine which is member of this domain. Now how we will join the Windows 10 machine to this domain? Let's see that. This is our Windows 10 machine. Now this Windows 10 machine, we can make this machine a client of our domain. Right now it is not a client. We can check by going into the properties of this computer, or we can go to control panel directly. So this is a computer setting here in a system about. I'm going to about. Now in about it shows that this is the machine name Win1, and this is the RAM and information. And if you want to see the domain information, then we'll go to advanced system setting. Here in the computer name we have this. So this machine is under the work group, and work group name is also Sai, but it is a work group, and the computer name is Win1. Now this machine is not a member of domain. Now what? I want to make this machine a member of our domain. So how I can do that? First requirement is to connect. This machine must be connected to the domain, or must be connected to the domain controller. That means that these machines must be remain in the same network, or even if they are in the different network, they must be connected. Now if they are in the different network, then the routers will require to connect them, but whatever, these two machines, these client machine and the domain controller must be connected together, and they must be in the same range of network. So if they are in the same network, so they must be in the same network IP. So first I will test what is the IP this machine has. NCPA. Oops, sorry, misspelling. NCPA. This command is to open the adapter setting, or we can go from this control panel. Okay, so this is the adapter setting. Let's check what is the status of it. So right now it is not in the domain which we need. Our domain network IP is 16. So this machine also must be in the same network, but this is not. So first we have to change the IP address to connect to this domain. So what I will do here, first I will go to properties here, and I will change the IP address to the same network IP. So IPv4 setting, properties, and this is not the same network, so I will go and change the network IP here. So our network IP is 16, so, and the domain controller's IP is 16.0.0.1. So within the network this machine IP could be any, so I'll go with 2. Gateway we don't have. Now this DNS server is very important. So if you want to make this machine as a client and you want to join this machine to a domain, then this machine must know that what is the DNS server IP and who is the DNS server. This is the must requirement, that this client machine must know that where is the DNS server and what is the IP of that DNS server. Now our domain controller is also a DNS server. So our domain controller is also a DNS server, so I will mention here the IP address of the domain controller, because the same domain controller we have, and the same domain controller is the DNS server also. So I am mentioning the IP address of DNS server here, but actually the DNS server itself a domain controller. So I am giving the IP address of the domain controller here, and this is the must thing. if you don't give this, then you will not get to join the domain. You will always get error. Whenever you try, you will get error. So I have done this. I will press OK, close, close and close, and now I will try to check whether these two machines are connected together or not. So I will go to CMD and I will try to ping. I will try to ping the domain controller. Ping 16.0.0.1. Now I'm not getting a reply. I'm getting destination host unreachable. Now why I'm not connected here? Because these two machines are not in the same network. They are not connected together in the same switch. Now I'm using a virtual machines here. So this is VMware virtual machines. So you have to make sure that both the virtual machines are into the same network configurations. So you have to configure the both machines. Your server, your client or your other server must be in the same network configurations. So for that, you will go to your virtual machines setting here and check what is the network setting you have for this machine. So for this machine, I can see that network adapter setting is set to bridge. Now let's check the other server, our domain controller, what is the network setting configured there. Now this is our domain controller, and I will see what is the network configuration set here. Now here in the network adapter configuration, it is saying NAT, and on that machine it was saying bridge. Now these are different now. That is why it is not connecting. So either you make the other machine NAT or this machine I will make bridge, but must be both machine in the same configurations. Now these are different configurations here in virtual machines. If I put them into bridge, so these virtual machines will directly connect to the real machine network adapter. So they will use real machine's network adapter as their own adapter. Or NAT means it will do the NATing between your the real machine and the host machine. This is only for the host. That means only virtual machine to virtual machine can do the communication, or we can create the custom host also, custom network. We can create our custom network, whatever we want to connect them together in only virtual machine and also host machine on and also our outside machine, whatever. Or you can make a separate network here, LAN segment. Now LAN segment, you can create a LAN segment by here mentioning add here. You can add LAN segments here. Now LAN segments, that means they will be totally separated from the other network. Like the only virtual machines can connect to virtual machines. Other networks, the host machine and the outside machine will not be able to connect. So if you want, then you can put them onto LAN segment also. After creating, you can select the LAN segment. So other machine was on bridge, so I will also put this machine also on bridge. Now both the virtual machines are on the same network, that is bridge. So now we can see they will be connected. Let's check from the client machine now. So I will try again, and now I'm getting the reply. Now I'm getting the reply because now both machines are in the same network configurations. So we are connected now, and now what I can do, I can join this machine to a domain. Now for joining the domain, we have to go to the computer system setting also. Again system setting, we can go by directly pressing properties, going property of this PC, or we can go to control panel, categories, and under the system categories we can see the system here, system configuration, and it will take you again to the properties of my computer, this PC. but I want to go to the advanced, or I want to rename this PC. Both will take me to the same place, so I will go to rename this PC here, and it will take me to the system properties. This is the system properties. Now here under the system properties, what is the name? Name is already set. For this client machine it is Win1. Now I want to configure the machine into domain, so I will change here, and right now this machine is under the work group. Now I want to make this machine into the domain, so I will select domain, and I have to mention the domain name here. Now what is the domain name? Domain name what we have configured in our Active Directory server, and this is our domain name, sai.com. And after making that machine a client, that machine account will come under this Active Directory folder. In this container, that Windows 10 account will be created. Okay, let's select that now. So I will mention the domain name here, sai.com. Now remember, we are mentioning the name, and because the name is resolved by the DNS server, it must be connected. So DNS server IP is very compulsory. It is like necessary to have. So when I give this name of the domain and when I press OK, so this Windows 10 client machine will try to search within the network. It will try to search this domain name. It will ask that who is this domain. Now the domain controller we have in the same network, so it will reply for this request, and it will say that you are welcome. It will ask the authentication password. Now that means what? The domain controller will ask the authentication. That means it will ask the username and password of the authenticated user who is responsible to join these machines into domain. Right now we have only the user, that is administrator. So we have administrator account right now who have a right to join these machines, join this client machine into domain. So we will provide the username and password of the administrator. So when I select OK, and it is searching in the domain, and now it has found, and it is saying here that enter the name and password of an account with permission to join the domain. So right now I have an account which is administrator, and that administrator account has a permission to join the domain. Not only the permission to join the domain, it is the whole administrator of the whole domain and the whole forest. So I will mention the name of that user, and the name of that user is administrator. Administrator and the password of that administrator user. Because without authentication, nobody can join the domain. Now it says welcome to the domain, so I will say OK, and it says that you have to restart the system. I say OK and close, and it says you have to restart now. So I say OK, and after restarting it will join the domain. Okay, the now machine is started. Now here it is showing that the administrator account, last time I have logged in as an administrator account, so it is showing that account here, but this administrator is the local administrator. Now if I want to log in as a domain user, so I will select other users here. Now here I can see that sign into sai.com. Now sai means it is the domain name here, or domain name is already selected. Otherwise I can log in as a two option. I have two options to log in as a domain. In a domain, first I will mention the username at the domain name. So for logging into a domain, user will give username at the domain name and then password. Or first let me see, let us do this, and it is now logging in. Because it is a first time logging, this user is logging into first time, so it will take a little time to set up the profile. this is it is configuring the setting for this user profile setting, so it will take a little time. This may take several minutes. And here the user is logged in. Now the user is logging here, and the user is from domain. So this user is coming from domain. It is a domain account and it can log in here, and this user is a normal user. As a normal user logged in here, so it will not have the administrator rights here. It can do only those things which normal users can do, and also it can do those things which the administrator, domain administrator, allowed them to do. So we can verify by going into control panel, and system settings, and we can check the name of this PC. Now you see what it is showing here. It is showing that this user is not having a permission to do that. So if it wants to do, then it needs the administrator username and password. So because this user is a normal user, it cannot do that, and it don't know the password of any administrator. So this is a normal user, so it cannot do those things, cannot do the administrative task. Now I will log in as an administrator here. Now last time I logged in as a user 1, so it is showing user 1 here. I want to log in as an administrator, so I will select other user. Now administrator, that means, remember, there is two administrators here. One is the local administrator and the one which is the domain administrator. So if you want to log in as a normal administrator, local administrator, then you will only mention the name of the administrator account. Now when you mention the administrator account, you will see the computer name here, that you are logging into this computer. You are not seeing the domain name here. You have to make sure that what it is showing here. Right now it is showing that this domain name, this machine name is Win1. So if I give the administrator name here, it is showing the machine name here. So that means I am logging into machine. So if I give only administrator and I will give the password here of the administrator and login, so it will only log into the local administrator. Now local administrator will not be able to do some of the things which is required or domain authentication, because now this machine is a member of the domain. So if there are some settings or some configurations that requires a domain authentication, so if it is not a domain administrator, then you will see some errors here. So if you want to do those administrative tasks on this client machine related to some domain configurations, then you have to log in as a domain administrator here, or the account which is having the administrative privilege. But if you give only the administrator name and try to log in, then it will always log in into local machine. It will not log in into domain account. So if we want to log in as a domain account, so just like we use this user account here, we use username at domain name, so we can do that also here. So now we can see that we are signing into domain. So now when I give a password and login, that means I will log into the domain administrator here. So this is the way for logging the user account here in the client machine, administrator at the domain name. Or for normal user, if you even not given this @ domain name, then it will be okay for normal users. But for especially for the administrator account, you have to give like this. Or the other option we have, that we give the domain name first, Sai, and then we will mention the name of the user account, and then you can see the domain name is showing here. So we can mention the user account at the domain name, or we can mention the domain name slash the user account. Both the option we have, but make sure when you're logging as an administrator, so you have to know that what you want. You want to log in as a local administrator, or you want to log in as a domain administrator. In the domain controller there is only one administrator, but in the client machine, all the client machines, there is two options. You have local administrator account and also you have domain administrator account. So you have to know that which account you are logging in. Right now I am logging in as a domain administrator, and this domain administrator is first time logging in here. So it will create a profile and it will take a little time here also. And you can see it is creating a profile here because this administrator is logging in first time. And now we are logged in as a domain administrator. Now domain administrator basically have all the rights on this system, so we can do anything on this system as a domain administrator also. Local administrator and domain administrator both can do all the configuration on this local system, this client machine. And now this is the client machine, and we can verify by checking into the control panel. And I will go to system, and here I can do this, like when I select rename this machine or advanced setting whatever, so it will allow me. If I select rename this PC, it allows me to do, because this is what a domain administrator. And now we can see here that the machine name is now become win1.sci.com. Previously it was only win1, but now the machine name is win1.sci.com. It is added with the domain name, and this is the domain name here, sci.com. So now this machine a member of the domain, and all the users which we create on the domain controller on the domain, all users can log into this system. And this machine account is also created under the Windows Active Directory Active Directory services. So when you go to domain controller and you check, this machine account is also created under the computer folder, computer container. So let's see in the domain controller here. Okay, it is locked. And here under the Active Directory users and computer services, I will refresh the domain name. I will select it and refresh it from here. Now when I see under the computer for container here, I can see that machine account here. So this machine is now a member of this domain. If you open the machine account here, you can see the information about this account. This is the name of the machine, operating system, Windows 10 Pro version, and the other informations. So now we make this machine a member of this domain controller, or in this domain, Active Directory domain. So this is how we make the Windows 10 machine a domain, a member of this domain. Now just like the Windows 10 machine, now Windows 10 operating system is a client operating system. So we can make this Windows 10 machine a computer, with these Windows 10 computers a client, these clients a member of the domain. Same as we can make the other server machines also. Other server machines, that means if we install the other machine, other server operating system, like this server operating system, we use to create one more server operating system, and we'll try to make that machine a member of the domain. We can do that. So we can make the member as Windows 10 client machines. So client machines as a member, or also other server operating system also we can make those machines a member of the domain. those machines will be called as a member server. So for example, this is our domain controller here, and this is the domain we created here. So we can make this Windows 10 machine as a client for this domain, or we can make Windows 8, Windows 7 also to make this machine a client of this domain. Same as we can do what? We can make other Windows 2016 machines. Like in this is a server also, and on this server I have installed Server 2016 operating system here. Now what I can do, just like the same I make this Windows 10 machine a client, I can make this server machine also a client, or this client for this domain. Now this server is not having any Active Directory things, it is just like it works like a client. And these we can have also Server 2012, which can also be member of or the client of our domain. We can have Server 2018 also, 2008 also. We can make that machine also a member of our domain. Now these machines, these are server operating systems, but they are acting as a client in our domain. So these kind of servers called member servers. These kind of servers called member servers. These are the server operating system. They are having a server operating system, but they are acting as a member of the domain. They are not acting as a domain controller. So they are called domain member servers. These are member servers, and these client operating system will always be the client machines. They will not become member. They will always remain the client machines. So these are called client machines, and these are called member server because they are having a server operating system installed. So for some reasons we use these member servers to configure some services without domain controller. So we don't want to make them domain controller, but we want to use them for a services. Like for example, I want to make a DHCP services. I want to make a DHCP server, or suppose we want to make a web server. So I don't want to install it on the domain controller because domain controller is having already a lot of loads. So I want to make another server for the web services or DHCP services. So I can use these other servers like this Server 2016 or Server 2012, whatever. I can install the server operating system. I will make them a member of our domain, and then I will install DHCP or web services, whatever here. So they will do the job for that, and that I cannot do it on this client machine, because in the client machine I cannot configure this machine as a DHCP server. I can only configure the server machine, server operating system, as a DHCP server. So for that I will do this. I will use these member servers, and many other services or many other reasons we use these member servers. Now member servers can be a graphical server or can be a core server. So if the graphical server is there, then making a server a client is same as like we did the Windows 10. The same method, the same way we make this Windows 10 machine a client, the same way we can make this Server 2016 or Server 2012 or Server 2008 operating system also member of the domain. We go to the system properties and then we make changes there. The name change the domain name, and we give the domain name there and provide the authentication username and password, and then done. It will be the member of the domain. Before that we just have to make sure the IP address is right, then it will be the member of the domain. Now I said if it is a graphical, then it will be the same method we use for the Windows 10. Now if the server operating system, other server machines we are using, or member servers we are using as a core server. Now core server does not have graphical interface. So how we will make this core server a member of our domain, and we make this core server as a member server. So let's see that how we'll make this core server a member of our domain. Now this is our core server. So first I will log in into this core server by providing the password. And now here it is, the core server. Now core server does not have any graphical interface. So all we can do is from the command line. So whatever we can do it from this command prompt. Now from command prompt we have a command djoin. Now this djoin means it is for the domain joining command, or if you go for the easy one, so PowerShell has a easy command. So we have to go for the PowerShell first. And under the PowerShell we have a command add computer. Okay, it is taking time to go to PowerShell. And the PowerShell is coming. And now we are under the PowerShell. So under the PowerShell we have a command add computer. Add computer, then you will mention the domain name, then you will mention the credential. Credentials are for, suppose I want to log the account which is the authenticated account for this domain joining, and that is administrator. And remember, I'm giving the name. How I'm giving the name? I'm giving the name as site, the domain name / the username. And after that, when we join the domain, we have to restart the system. So I can mention this directly. I can say restart here, and also I can force this process also. So this is a command to join the domain from PowerShell. Now when we press enter here, it will ask the password for the username, this administrator username password it will ask, and then when we provide the password correct, then it will join the domain and it will reboot automatically, because I have already given the restart command. So it will restart the system automatically, and then after restarting it will be the member of the domain. Now before going into the domain, we have to configure the other things also. That means the network IP, the same network IP, and these machines must be connected together. That means this core server and the domain server, those two servers must be connected together. Then we have to configure the DNS server IP. That is very important. So if I want to do this, so first I have to configure those other things also. Now for configuring those other things and also joining the domain, we have an easy option for that also. In the core servers, we have sconfig command. So this sconfig, that means server configuration. This command is to run the text-based TUI interface, where you can configure all those things. You can configure the name for your system, you can configure the IP addresses, you can configure the DNS server IP addresses, and also you can join the domain. So this is the easy way in the core server. So if you are using the core server, so you will give the sconfig command, and this will open the TUI interface, text user interface, where you can configure everything easily. And it is coming. Sconfig means it is a server configuration. And here it is already. Now here we have in server configurations. Now I have already configured the computer name here. So if you have not configured, then you will press number 2 here, and you can change the name of your computer if you have not changed. Now if you want to configure the networking setting, then you can go for this number 8, and in the number 8 you can see the networking settings. You can configure the IP address for your system, you can configure the DNS server IP, gateway IP, and everything, and the other settings you have for the other things like activation, date and time, update settings, all these things. You have the other options also. So network is important, so let's check the network is right or not. So I will go to number 8, and here it is saying that this is the IP address for this interface, that is 10.0.0.16.0010. so I think it is the same IP which I need, so I will go blank because I don't want to change it. If you want to change it, then you can mention the adapter setting, adapter index number, and it will go and it will change. It will ask for the IP address, it will ask for the DNS, you can change whatever. So everything is okay here. The name for the system is there, IP address configuration is done, and that is the IP address is 16.0.0.10, which is the same network IP, and DNS IP also I have configured previously. So I have already configured those things, so I can join the domain now. For joining the domain, we have the number one option. Here we can join the domain, or we can go to work group also. Right now this machine is under the work group, which is the default. I want to join this machine to a domain, so I will select one here. Now it is asking me that you want to join domain or work group. Right now it is already on the work group, but if you are in the domain, then you want to go to work group, then you will press W. It is giving you option here in the bracket. It says press W for work group and press D for domain and blank for cancel. So I want to go to domain, so I will give D and enter. So it is join domain. So now it is saying that name of the domain you want to join. So I want to join this domain, and then I will press enter. Now it is asking that specify the authorized domain user. So authorized domain user is administrator. So administrator is the authorized user. Now it is saying type the password associated with the domain user account. So we will give the password of the administrator account. Retype. It is asking one more time. Now it is trying to join the domain, and now it says, do you want to change the computer name before restarting the computer? Now I don't want to change because I have already changed, so I will say no, and now it is going to restart. It says you must restart the computer to apply these settings, and now it is going to restart, and it is going to be the member of the domain. After reboot, this core server is ready. So I will log in here. And now this core server is also a member of a domain. And we can check the host name now. It is a core server. So now this one is also a domain member. We can verify from the domain controller system. So if you go to the domain controller now, now again in the domain controller, Active Directory users and computer, when we refresh this domain, now we can see under the computer container, we can see the core servers also. So this server is also a member of this domain, and this is not a client operating system, it's a server operating system. So it is what? It is a member server, we can say. And now this is a member server, and this is also connected to our domain. So now this core server is also a member of our domain. Now once you make the core server a member of a domain, then you don't have to go back to the core server again. You don't have to log into the core server again, because we can manage it from here. We can manage it from this graphical server manager. We just have to add that server here by going into this manage, and under the manage we have option to add other servers here. So under manage we will select add servers here to add other servers. Add other servers for managing, and for managing from this remote, this graphical server manager. So add server, it will open this window here, and it is searching for the current domain here. Now under the domain, which operating system, we can say all operating system, and if you know the name, you can see, you can go by the operating system also. You can search by the operating system, or if you know the name, then you can put the name here also. I know the name, it is core 1, which I want to add, so I will add the name here, and then I will say find, and it is going to find, and now it is finding this. This is our server, this is our core server which we want to add into this server manager. So I will select this one and I will say add. And now when I select add, it is added here under this selected computers. Now what? I will say OK. And now that core server is also will be added here into this server manager. So we can manage that core server from here. We don't have to go to that core server and log into that core server and run those commands to manage. We can manage all the things from here. So now when I go to all servers here, so when I go to all servers here, I can see the servers which I have added. So I can see this core server is also added here, and I can manage the core server from here also. This is my domain controller, and this is the member server, this is the core server. Now managing it from here, that means we can add roles, we can remove roles. Whatever we do from this server manager, we can do it on this core server also. Like if I want to add some roles, so when I go to manage and I say add roles and features, so it will give me both servers option, and I can select that which server I want to install the role or not. So I can select the role and I can install it on the particular server. So when we install the core server and even a nano server, we just have to not nano server for only core servers, because nano servers are different. So we just install them and then configure them, join with the domain, and then we can manage them from here. We don't have to go to core server, and we just don't have to log into that core server again. Now see, when I go to install roles and features, so under this, in the server selection tab, we will see the servers option. So we can select core server here. Now suppose I want to install some roles or feature on that server, I don't have to go to that server. I can just select it from here that I want to install it on this server, and then I will go next and I can install whatever I want to install. And if I want to remove something from that server, I can do it from here. I don't have to go and log into that server again. If I want to do manage the command, if I want to do the other things, if I want to manage the server, everything I can do it from here. And if when I install some services on that server, I can access that server from that console also. So if I want to manage it, I can right click on this core server and I can do add roles and feature directly from here. I can restart the server, I can connect from the, I can see the computer management there, and computer management, that means I can see the whole computer management here for that computer core server, where I can do the I can manage the partitions, I can manage other things also. So you can get the computer management, you can connect the remote desktop, you can connect the PowerShell from here. If you want to run the commands there, you can do all these things from here. So you just don't have to go back to log into that core server again. You can manage everything from here remotely. So this is the post installation task we do, like joining the Active Directory. Now configuring the time zone, enabling the automatic updates, adding roles and features we have seen. We can enable the remote desktop feature and configuring the firewall settings also. Now next is upgrading. We have two options, upgrading or migration. In place upgrades versus server migration. Now first, upgrading means what? Upgrade to Windows Server 2016. That means if we are using previous versions of Windows Server, like we are using Windows Server 2008, 2012, so we want to just upgrade it. Like the new server operating system has arrived, and now our organization wanted to move to this new organization, new update, new versions of Windows Server. So we can do two options. We can do upgrades or we can do migration. Upgrade, when we do upgrade, it can upgrade from Windows Server 2008 R2 or later. We cannot upgrade from Windows Server 2008 or previous than this Windows Server 2008. We can only upgrade it from Windows Server 2008 R2 edition. Then can only upgrade to same or newer editions. Same or newer edition, that means if it is a data center edition, then it will be upgrade to data center edition or standard edition. If the standard edition is there, then we can go for standard edition, and also we can go for data center, but we cannot go back to standard. Like if you are having a data center edition, you cannot go back to standard edition. And also it requires the same processor architecture. So if you are upgrading it from the previous version, then you have to have a same processor architecture also. Now when you upgrade it, so upgrade means you will do upgrade it from the same system. You are having a server installed with this Server 2008 R2, then you will run the you will insert the installation media of Server 2016. You run the installation normally, and then what you will select at the time of installation, you will select upgrade option. You will not select custom, you will select upgrade option. Now by using the upgrade option, it will remain all the settings and profiles for the user like as it is, and then you can just upgrade it from old version to new version. But if you are having a domain install, if you are having Active Directory install, then you are not able to upgrade it like this. You have to remove Active Directory for upgrading. Now migration means it will be migrate from 32-bit version of Windows Server, must be migrated, like can use the Windows Server migration tool features. Now migration we do when we are not able to do the upgrading. So if it is not possible to upgrade, then we do the migration. For example, if we are using Server 2008 operating system, not R2, and we want to upgrade to 2016 directly, so it is not possible to upgrade, then what we do, we migrate it. Now migration means what? We have to follow the procedure, and migration means what? We have to upgrade, we have to remove, or you have to take the backup, or you have to remove everything from there, and then you can change the operating system. Now first, in place upgrade scenario. Perform an in place upgrade when existing servers must meet the hardware requirements. Then software products installed on an existing server support an in-place upgrade. That means whatever the software we are using in the previous version, like Server 2012 or Server 2008 R2, it must be compatible with Server 2016 also. Otherwise, it will not work. Then you want to keep existing data and security permissions. So why we do the upgrading? Because we want to keep the existing data and security permissions, and you want to keep existing roles, features and settings also. So if we want to keep these roles, features and settings also, then we want to do the upgrade. Now benefits of migrating to Windows Server 2016. Now why we do the migration and what is the benefit here? So when you perform a migration, you do not affect your current Windows Server 2008 or later IT infrastructure. So you do not affect anything. You can just migrate it from there. That means you don't have to shut down the systems. You don't have to offline the servers. Then perform software product migration in a separate environment. Then when you are having a old softwares like which is working on Server 2008, that softwares might not support on Server 2016. So we can do it separately also. Like the softwares we can do upgrade, migrate the software's environment, we can migrate it separately. Then perform migration of a server role, features and settings in a separate environment. That is also like we can do separate. Ensure new operating system enhancement are installed by default, and then we can use new operating system enhancement also installed by default. Now for doing this, we can use this solution accelerators like using the Microsoft Deployment Toolkit, MDT. This is to automate the deployment of Windows Server 2016 or other operating systems. So this is easy. This tool makes it easy to deploy the Windows Server 2016 or even the other operating system also. Then we can use the MAP, Microsoft Assessment and Assessment Toolkit. It is actually assessment for the planning, assessment and planning toolkit. This is for Windows Server 2016. Then this is to perform the inventory of your organization's IT infrastructure, generate a report or proposal based on the Windows Server 2016 readiness assessment to plan server consolidation. Use this tool, MAP tool. This MAP tool allow you to check your organization infrastructure, that whether your organization is ready to upgrade it to Windows Server 2016 or not. It will check that what applications, what programs will be affected and what you have to migrate again, like you have to change and you have to upgrade also to support this Server 2016. So this tool is to check that whether your server infrastructure, your organization's IT infrastructure is supported to upgrade or not. Then use these server migration tools to migrate. We have a different tools to migrate it. Migrate server roles, features, operating system settings, data and shares to other systems, and then we can do the migration. Now migrating server roles within a domain, that roles that you can migrate from supported earlier edition of Windows Server 2000 server to Windows Server 2016 includes. Now these are the roles which can be migrated from the previous versions to Windows Server 2016 versions. ADFS role, we have Hyper-V role, DHCP role, DNS role, network policy servers, print and documentation document services, remote access services, WSUS services. These are the roles which we can do migrate. Then migration server roles across domains or forest. So when you migrating servers across domains, create a new Windows Server 2016 ADS forest, then deploy application on new servers, then establish ADDS trust between the current and the new ADDS forest, then migrate ADDS objects, migrate application data and settings, and decommission and remove the old ADDS environment. So if you are having the Active Directory environment set, then it is not able to do what upgrading, and even not you will not able to do upgrading. Then what you can do the migration, and even you can do the migration across the domain or forest also. So you have to follow the proper process for that. Now for example, we are having this Server 2008 server installed, and we are having the environment of this Server 2008. Now we want to upgrade it to new version. We want Server 2016. So what we have option to upgrade first. Now if it is Server 2008 R2 edition, then only we can upgrade. If it is only Server 2008, we cannot upgrade. Upgrade means what? We have all the things, all the applications are installed here. We insert the installation media here and start the installation, and then at the time of installation there is an option called custom installation or upgrade installation. So when you select, you will select upgrade installation, and in that upgrade installation it will do upgrade, and it will upgrade to 2016 server. without removing your security, without removing your profile settings and permissions. Now if it is already installed domain Active Directory, now it is not possible there. Now in that case you have to first migrate all the roles here. Now if it is already a domain server, if it is already a domain controller, it is having some roles available. So you have to do what? You have to migrate the Active Directory role. Otherwise you will not able to upgrade it. Other roles and features can be upgraded, but domain controller role must be migrate. Now in other case, if it is only a 2008 server, then you have to go only for migration. Now in place upgrade, that means you are directly upgrading your server. But if you are not a 2008 R2 edition, then you have to migrate it. Now for migrating, or even if you are having the Active Directory server installed here, in both cases you have to do the migration. So what you will do here, first you will migrate all the roles and features into the other system. You will install the Active Server 2016, and then you will install you will migrate all the roles and features into this. Now roles is specifically the domain services role, so you migrate the domain services role to here. Now how you will do that? So first you will install 2016 server here, you will make this server member of this domain, and then you will make this server an Active Directory domain controller. So this will also become domain controller, and this one is already a domain controller. Now what you will do, when you make this machine a domain controller, then what happened? Every settings for the domain controller and every configuration of the domain controller will automatically move to this server 2016 machine. Now after everything is gone here, whatever the application you have, you can move them also, you can migrate them also. And then what you can do, you can remove this server and then reinstall the server to 2016. Because we cannot do upgrade, we will completely remove this and we will do the custom installation and fresh installation here. After doing the fresh installation, this will become again 2016. Now we have already this 2016 server available, which is having all the roles of Active Directory installed. Then what we will do, we will make this server again a domain controller for this domain. Now when we make this domain controller, then every configuration and setting for the domain controller will come back to this server again. Now if we don't want this server, if it is a only test server, then we can just remove this server again. We remove the Active Directory from here and we can just disable the server, and this server will be back again as a domain controller, but this time this will be a 2016 server. So we can do the in-place upgrade only for some services roles, with some services and roles, but if it is Active Directory services, we can't upgrade it. We have to migrate the Active Directory, then we can do the upgrade or reinstall. Then after everything, when we do, we have to get the license and activation. For Windows Server 2016 licensing and activation, we can organization can choose between two activation strategies. We have activation strategies as manual and automatic. Now manual means suitable when deploying a small number of servers. If suppose we have 2, 3, 4 or 10 servers, we can do manual activation. Activation, that means we'll go to each and every server and then we'll select the activation option from the setting, and then it will go to Microsoft servers, and then it will go ask the authentication, like ask the activation key and all, and then we can provide the key and we can activate it. Now if we are having the multiple servers, lots of servers together in the organizations, now we can do the automatic, because manually that means we have to manage each and every server's key separately. For that we can use the automatic method. In this, it is a suitable when deploying larger number of servers. So here we install the volume licensing servers here, and with the single key we can activate multiple servers together by using the automatic update method. So this is what we do after the installation. We do the post installation task, we configure the domain, we join the domain machines, we join the servers to the domain and clients to the domain, and also then we can do migration and upgrading also if we want, and we can do what, activation also.